Happy Friday and happy Thanksgiving, dear friends. Thanksgiving means 3 F's: food, football, and family. And family dynamics, aren't they interesting? This week's parsha talks about one of the sadder family dynamics in the Torah, the relationship between Yaakov and Esav, which we know doesn't end so well. Yaakov is described by the Torah as Ish Tam Yoshev Ohalem, a simple man who studies in tents. He was a studious type. He learned, he was domesticated, he just liked to sit and be a spiritual person. Esav is described as Ish Sadeh, a man in the field, a hunter. He would go out, he wanted to go and change the world and go and be active and do things outside of the home. And Rav Hirsch, the 19th century German rabbi, actually makes a dramatic and almost controversial statement. He says that the reason why Esav went off and didn't stay part of that covenant from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, the reason why Esav didn't feel a part of that is because he felt that there was no room in Judaism for a man like him. For a man who didn't want to sit and study Torah all day, for a man who wanted to be out in the operating rooms, in the boardrooms, on the war, in war, in the field. There was no room for somebody like him. All Judaism cares about is a Yaakov type, is somebody who just sits and is spiritual. And that's where Esav went wrong. Because Judaism is actually, we need both. We need the Yaakovs, we need the people studying and praying and doing all that as their focus. But we also need people in the operating room who are treating their patients in an ethical way. We need people in the boardroom who are acting honestly in business, who are giving charity. We need all of them. That's what Judaism is. And in fact, one of my students pointed out so beautifully that this actually fits perfectly with Rav Soloveitchik's idea about the 2 stories of creation in the beginning of Bereshit. In the beginning of Genesis, if you read chapters 1 and 2 carefully, there are 2 ways that the creation of man is described. And the first one is a much more physical, somebody who's supposed to conquer the world, to fix the world, to do something outside of himself. That is what Rav Soloveitchik calls Adam 1. But then in chapter 2, we hear about a different Adam, one who's created from the ground, is a much more spiritual Adam. They call Adam 2. He's more somebody who's interested in the virtues of spirituality, of being one with God. And in the book Lonely Man of Faith, Rav Soloveitchik talks about these 2 Adams, and all of us have a tendency towards being either an Adam 1, a conqueror, somebody who's going out, and some of us have more of a spiritual, quiet, refined, internal Adam 2 type. And really what Judaism is a little of both. Is we need both. And some of us are going to be more Adam 1, some of us are going to be more Adam 2, some of us are going to be more like Yaakov, who want to sit and study Torah, some of us are going to be more like Esav, who are going to go out and try to be out in the world on the battlefields of life. But we need both. And if all of them are done with the right intention to try to bring light to the world, to try to do what Hashem wants, what God wants for us in the world, then there's room for both of us at our Thanksgiving table, of course, and for the Jewish people. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for listening to the Solar Minute. Happy Thanksgiving.